And we are live.
And we're
Hello,
live.
everyone. Welcome to another episode in our Abstraction podcast series, where we try and talk about how to improve user experience in Web3, which is one of the biggest stumbling blocks to the meme that is mass adoption in the space. Uh, Today, we are going to be talking about a variety of different things, particularly around gaming, consumer applications, and how all of those things can be influenced massively by what is now being called chain abstraction. And to help us with this, we have a very special guest here today. We have Jerome. Jerome is the founder and CEO at Cometh. What many of you may not know is that Jerome is also our host and the founder of the numero uno Ethereum community conferences,
Thank
ECC.
you. Yeah.
So welcome, Jerome. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you for having me, and sorry for the hiccups on Wednesday. I know we had an agenda conflict, mostly due to myself. So very sorry about that. So yes, indeed, I'm the host and founder of ECC, which I hope you've been this year. I know I've seen some Arcana talk, so it was a great pleasure to have you guys on this conference. Um, and we had several stuff about onboarding, account management, account abstraction, and so on. So we even had a dedicated track for that because it's a burning topic right now. And my day job is managing a company called Cometh, which mostly do middleware for retail applications on the blockchain. So our hero product is an account abstraction solution, which is compatible with what Arcana is building. And yeah, very happy to discuss with you today and to share our experience doing retail applications with the audience.
Fantastic. Thanks for that introduction, Jerome. So let me start off by asking you. The, the common meme is, we're going to have mass adoption in Web3, basically going to convert a lot of non-crypto people into crypto folks, and we're going to see this whole renaissance of where apps and users and app builders and protocols are going to flourish.
Hmm.
This has been going on for a while, which is why it's now the meme, because we've probably gone in the reverse direction where there are probably like fewer apps, fewer developers, fewer users, like real users, than there were, or at least that whole graph has plateaued to a bit. What's going to change that according to you?
Well, first we have to we have to look at the users through different lenses. Like we talk about retail users, Web2 users, no coiners sometimes, or like average Joe, the 50 something mother at home and things like that. Like it's a very wide spectrum of people we want to convert to our technology. Um, and compared to that, you have the other side of the spectrum, which is the DJs that are hunting for airdrops, taking meme coin leverage positions, and so on. And so from my mother-in-law to the average DGen you might find in a airdrop campaign on Discord, there's tons of different users to onboard on that. In the early days of crypto, we had of blockchain as the crypto community, we were telling people like you should get out of your bank and jump into Bitcoin or ETH or whatever was the latest coin that was advertising itself. Like it's the sound way to hold your saving. Like buy crypto because it's better, it's clearer, it's an asset that you can watch the supply go live. You can adhere to different premises like oh it's the finite supply or diminishing supply or like supply growth that you can control or that is clear and so on. So um, we try to convert people initially into blockchain by pitching them the assets. Like yeah, it's the asset is the thing that you should hold, and we ended up pitching crypto but in reverse, pitching centralized exchanges. Like, like get into crypto. Yeah. What do I do? Open a Binance account. Sure. No, before you may try, like just install MetaMask. Like we were talking 2016, like, oh, you want to get into crypto? Just install MetaMask. And then the person installed MetaMask was like, yeah, it's so hard. What am I going to do? What is those 24 words? What do I do with this? And so on. And at that time, we had little to no fiat to crypto on ramp. Um, very few were live, very few were efficient, very few were covering most geographics. So telling people to install a wallet was a super hard task to perform. Installing a wallet was super painful. And then once you had a wallet, you didn't even have crypto. Like I bought my first crypto on Kraken, so it's like it's reverse. Like you would install a centralized exchange at first. So now the centralized exchanges are behemoth in our space. They are contributing. They are doing their own things. They are helping our ecosystem grow in various ways. You know, they are putting their names on the spoiler of a Formula One. So it's definitely creating some brand awareness about the crypto space. They are also dipping their toe into blockchain because most big centralized exchanges now have their own chain, they have their own wallet, they have their own solutions. They are trying to expand into the on-chain world, not just bridging the Web2 world and the Web3 world. So now they are flying on their own. They are running on their own. Like it's great. But now we are. I think they will be converting their own crowd. Like they will be talking to the average Joe about, you know, it's good to have crypto to diversify your portfolio, to diversify your savings. It's something trendy. You should take a look at it. So the addressable market of the people that will be, you know, sensible or will be compatible with the pitch of just get into crypto because it's a cool asset to hold, and maybe you'll discover something you like after it. So just get crypto. Those people are going to be addressed by the centralized exchanges, in my opinion, which leave the rest of the people that have little to no savings, that leave little to no interest into diversifying their portfolio into something more risky or something more speculative and so on. Those people, we have to get them into using crypto through value added on top of traditional applications or new type of applications. And this is a burgeoning ecosystem now that, in my opinion, is mostly advanced in the gaming space, not necessarily the video game space, which we know a lot from our original DNA at Cometh. Video game.
Jerome, sorry, I think we've lost audio from you. Yeah. Sorry for the interruption, folks. I think we'll have Jerome back soon. We had you for a small moment. Not anymore.
So I just got a new phone, and
Yes.
it's a struggle.
Working now. Can hear you.
It's working now,
Yes.
loud and clear.
Yes.
Okay, let's go. So I was telling you that we had a lot of experience with gaming and blockchain, and I think it's a very promising space to create new type of application, new type of experience for the users um, by adding blockchain into a video game. But there's a lot of challenges to overcome before we are able to do that at scale. But the most promising thing right now, in my opinion, is gaming, like adult entertainment, such as gambling or prediction markets, betting, and potentially also social networks. Like we see a lot of those social networks pop up now. I'm still a bit confused because I don't really get what exactly they're going to bring on top of the existing apps. But there's definitely a trend coming there. And my hope for the future is that once people get onboarded onto a blockchain-based social network or got into fun bets that they like to place on a decentralized network, they start to realize that there's more to it, that the assets are pretty cool, the technology is pretty cool, the crowd is pretty cool as well, and they get more and more red pilled into crypto. And in order to achieve this looming vision, we need good chain abstraction and we need good app abstraction. So that's definitely the next step into bringing the masses to the blockchain, is bringing this specific piece of technology that streamline the onboarding and streamline the interaction at the same time.
Understood. I mean, I think you touched upon very many points, but I think that was a very helpful context setting. You basically spoke about like an extremely broad spectrum of users, and obviously a lot of them, especially the ones that have money, are fairly well off and are in it for like making more money, are going to be attracted to perhaps portions of DeFi, but largely to exchanges, and they're going to be catered to by all of these people. But it's almost everyone else who's not in it for the money per se, but these are the people that we have to convert, and for them we need uh, a better user experience. And you've seen this happen in gaming, where a person could essentially be a no coiner, not be interested in it, but get this enhanced experience that they could only potentially get through a blockchain backed game, or like a prediction market or whatever else, and then consequently be red pilled into like the app that they're using, as opposed to becoming like this tribalistic pro crypto maxi.
Yeah.
And I think if we have to kind of get to that point where there are no dApps, it's just apps, and we essentially have like the back end is obfuscated from the user, abstracted away. It could be a blockchain backend, or it could be an Amazon AWS EC2 instance, whatever it may be. Uh, the fact is that quality needs to show through on the application side, and people will
Yep.
use something like a social network if and only if it is better than the status quo, like what we have already today. And if that is the case, you spoke about like the challenges of, you shouldn't really try and like basically slap on a blockchain onto like perhaps an app idea. But what are some of these like very clear use cases? I know you spoke about prediction markets, but when you talk about games or any other sort of consumer applications, you also hinted on your own suspicions of how social networks with blockchain backends add anything extra. But what are these sorts of challenges that, if overcome, give rise to like great use cases that a typical application, Web2 application, would not be able to solve?
So it's well, it's at the same time an easy topic and a hard topic. So let's take a let's take a little step back. Like when it's hard to find um, in any type of industry, in any type of product, and so on. It's hard to find a perfect match for blockchain technology. Like there's hardly any going from 0 to 1 or 1 to 100 in terms of doing better, selling better, making a better product by injecting blockchain. It's hard to find this kind of application, and I think mostly because we live in a paradigm or in a mindset that we've take the habit of building on top of and not considering a decentralized technology as a backend as the basis for building stuff. Like so, usually we take something that has been built in one certain way and we say like, yeah, let's think about it backward and just like add some blockchain here and there. And then you realize that the whole architecture is not meant for that. Everything is based out of wood, and you're like, yeah, I'm going to put glass everywhere because lets the light goes on. Yeah, but maybe if you put some glasses, it's going to be heavy, so you need concrete around that. But I don't want to deal with concrete. Nobody wants to deal with concrete. And so suddenly the architecturing is holding us back here. And when we talk to companies that are going blockchain for some of their applications or some of their things, uh, we usually have two ways of looking at it on their side. At Cometh, we service companies like Lacoste, companies like FDJ, Française des Jeux, the largest gambling and national lottery in France, the largest lottery in Europe, basically. We also work with Gnosis on their new wallet, on with Safe, with WorldCoin, and so on. So we have the habit of working with companies that are targeting millions of users. Like the product is a success when I reach millions of users. But very often we go with our BD hat and we're like, hey, knock knock knock, do you want to put blockchain in your applications? And the answer we get is like either I want to be able to reach geeky nouveau riche, I want to get into those Web3 communities that are well off and so on. And that's usually luxury companies that are like trying to expand their position into those new crowds. And in this case, it's like yeah, it's a small NFT project or something related to an NFT artist or something sprinkled with blockchain and so on, just to say like, hey, by the way, you should look at what we are doing because it fits your value. Like, hey, Web3 guys, like, hey, we here, buy our product. And that's usually a really low technology impact on that front. Like they just sprinkling blockchain there. And there are very few companies that are taking the bet of trying to sell better products or build new products using blockchain. And that's because it's tough. It's tough. It's hard to think backward and to start to integrate blockchain technology in your application in a way that you feel like it's going to attract new users or bring new use cases to your product. And to continue on that front, internally inside our Web3 community, you have a lot of applications that are focusing super hard on the Web3 niche, feeling like I'm going to be fighting for whales liquidity, building up a large TVL, finding for unique addresses, because maybe that's what the VCs are telling them. Like, hey, if you want to go Series A, Series B, you need to show a lot of users, you need to show a lot of things. So let's fight for having the biggest impact in the Web3 niche, and that's kind of cannibalizing themselves one another, like not trying to expand the thing. And I'm kind of sad that so far during year 2024 and late 2023 we had very few large DeFi applications that tried hard to grow the pie for the rest of the ecosystem, try to focus on keeping the step ahead of their competitors rather than trying to expand the pie and their impact. But it's not impossible to build like right now applications that are better with blockchain. If you look at papers from the Europe Ethereum Interim Enterprise Alliance, that they're producing papers like, hey, supply chain and blockchain, blah blah blah. Look, it's when it's down. Hey, blockchain and cash pooling in your subcos, like, hey, it's what it works like. It's going to be super great for you. Like blockchain and real world assets, hey, look at what it is. Definitely at ECC, by the way, there was a big real world asset tracks and lots of people coming in. But to continue on a topic I mentioned earlier, like prediction market, for example, if I want to bet on either Kamala Harris or Donald Trump is going to win the U.S. election,
Most of the websites that are Web2 based are going to geofence me a lot. Whether the Web3 stuff are likely going to be loose. That's a good and a bad thing, because like those Web3 applications at some point will have to apply the local law and impeach someone to come and bet if they are below 18 or whatever it is. But so far it's it's in a gray zone in some ways, since you are betting with chocolate money or virtual assets or virtual money or whatever. It's fine. Maybe we can bypass the law, or be in the gray zone for a while. But that's one of the advantage. Like, you can go bet on those things without having to comply too much with too many things. Uh, and then when you look at the betting, purely speaking, the betting, like, I'm betting for Trump, or I'm betting for Kamala Harris. Like, the experience has to be the same. Otherwise, if you're not at par with the experience, like, you have to deliver a lot of value to overcome the lack of quality of experience in terms of onboarding and so on. But specifically on predictive markets, there's one thing I can never do on any Web2 applications, as far as I know. So let me know in the comments if I'm wrong. There's literally none of the betting system that let me provide liquidity on the bet.
Mm.
So there's three ways of benefiting from a bet. A yes or no bet. Yeah, will Trump win? Yes or no? Yeah, if you believe yes, well, just buy some yes, and then you'll benefit once the election is over. If you believe no, just buy some no. That's the second way. And there's a third way, saying like, hey, the yes or no is 52-48. If you believe this is the right spread, the right ratio, like, you should provide liquidity, because anytime someone is buying and selling, like, you're making money.
Mm.
So opening up this third way of dealing with an application, it's a great demonstration of blockchain can enhance these applications, like the predictive market applications, by just letting anyone participate in the pool. And that's something that's super duper hard to do on a Web2 basis, because like, you have to handle a lot of origin of fund, like, do all the verification of where did it come from and so on, which is much easier to do on the blockchain, despite whatever the politicians may think. Like, it's super easy to say, like, this money is kosher, this one is not kosher. Like, you can check it out very easily. And you can also let the layman that have like $10, like $5, $1, just bet on something, or provide liquidity on something. Yeah, the marginal cost of adding a transaction is actually super low.
Mm.
And right now we are, in terms of quality of onboarding and quality of management, at a tipping point. Like, this is the place where the paradigm completely changed. And I'm very glad that we had a lot of efforts in the infrastructure space, both on the uh, account abstraction and now on the chain abstraction in parallel, that let us say, like, hey, I want to have my own rollup, because I want super fast transactions, super cheap, because there's a lot of low value transactions that I need to settle. And at the same time, I want people to be able to interact from one chain to another, to take their bet out of Arbitrum, take their bet out of Optimism, at the same time being on my rollup. I want that to be connected. And now we have rollup as a service, we have account abstraction as a service, and we have chain abstraction as a service. So we are able to rebuild the same Web2 app with the blockchain flavor, and with the your default funnel of, I'm onboarding like I'm onboarding on a Web2 application. It's not painful. It's not like, by the way, open this third party app, learn about a new model of security model, write down 12 words, and by the way, take a picture of yourself with your passport, just to buy $10 of crypto and take 5% fees out of this in order to participate. Like there's no conversion in this case. So my take for the rest of the year and the year 2025 is that we are going to see waves of new users coming for the apps and not for the asset, and probably staying for the asset in the end, and being the best
Mm.
uh, supporters of the technology, and the best onboarders, and telling their friends, like, hey, you should come, you should try, it's great.
Understood. So we're basically at a point where the infrastructure seems to have matured, gone to a place where people can do, developers can do things in the scalable way. There's a lot of middleware and other protocols that make end user life easy. I think it just comes down to the quality of apps that are going to be built. You spoke about prediction markets and how they are different from your standard betting platforms, because now it opens up this possibility for me to become like the house in a sense, right? Where
Yeah.
I am able to participate from the other side of the table. And so we're talking about disrupting some of the existing, say, traditional like Web2 applications. Like, for example, even social networks. Uh, you could build now social networks that allow you to casually participate in, like, say, speculative activity within reason. Like for example, what Farcaster does with Farcaster frames, like, buy this NFT, or you do something else. I think Telegram, people are building a lot of these bots that allow you to like quickly do these things right from there. I think it just comes down to like a higher quality of apps being built, because I think the excuse for good stuff being built within the space is now slowly evaporating. Like users' lives are being improved with all of these, abstraction solutions.
No
There's now
excuse.
all this middleware. Yeah.
No
So
excuse.
we should see, and this should happen. So would you say you're optimistic it'll happen in the next year and a half, where we'll
Oh
see
yeah.
this big
Definitely,
influx?
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. That no excuse. Like there's so much there's so much infrastructure out there, and that's also part of it because of the pullback of the market after the Terra Luna event and the change in the monetary policy worldwide. Investors have been just like, I want to invest into infrastructure, infra everywhere.
Mm.
So now infra is cheap, and the appetite is going into consumer apps now. So like no excuse, like there's never like the infra is there. Like you still have to pick the right provider. Like Arcana and Cometh are really good at this. Like you'll find my my contact easily if you wanna
Yeah.
hear about how you can do that. Uh, but now also we have since the inception of Ethereum, like 10 years of consumer apps discussions and IDs and things. So the mindset is also there. Like, yeah, maybe it's a good time to build a ride sharing system on
Mm.
blockchain, because why not? At the end of the day, it was one of the earliest projects in the crypto space. Maybe it's time for this kind of thing to pick up. And as we dig deeper, we'll find out that we have 0 to 1 moment, and sometimes 0 to 1 to 100 moment into existing apps. Again, the prediction market field is a really good one, because to take the example of will Trump win, like if you believe Trump will win, yeah, by yes. If you believe Trump will lose, by no. If you believe he will either win or lose, look at the rates and just provide liquidity. So suddenly you went from addressing two sides of the market, like yes or no, to addressing like everything. And sometimes blockchain can give you this aha moment, like, oh yeah, I can actually do that, and it's going to be much better. At Cometh, we started our journey with building video games and the tech behind the video games that we were building, because there was literally nothing that helped us do video games on blockchain back in 2019 and 2020. And our first game was fully on chain. It was really geeky stuff. Like the game existed as smart contracts, and you can build your own uh, custom interfaces if you like, or use the weird graphics that we had put on. But like it was fully on chain. And for us to onboard people, even with just an email, even with just like anything that's not at par with the experience that a gamer will expect, is going to convert 0% chains. So right now we have the capacity to onboard properly, and our game studio has spun out of the company now, but their new game is live on the Epic
Mm-hmm.
Game Store. It's called Cosmic Battle with a K. COS MIK. Cosmic Battle and Epic Game Store is fully abstracted. So we have people that come to the game because they look for a trading card game that's available on Epic Game Store. They see this one that's 4.7 out of 5. They're like, oh, it's a pretty good game. Like, I should try it. And they don't see the blockchain until they want to see it or they dig deep to see it. But what's really cool with the blockchain for us is that we can give to the player the access to a secondary market. So super simple use case, right? Like access to a secondary market. Oh yeah, I can trade my card and get crypto out of it, and then I can convert the crypto into real money that I can spend at the bakery. Oh yeah, sure. Like this is a value proposition that's very widely spread in the gaming space. But for us, what really made the difference in terms of bringing the traditional TCG players onto our game is that we were able to organize tournaments on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, potentially soon on a daily basis, just giving a smaller prize pool or letting the player participate to the prize pool and distribute that at scale on any number of players. Playing poker and earning $1 out of playing just on $1 table, it's possible because the poker website or the poker application has full payment service provider set up as is handling a fully regulated, super hard to put in place way of handling tokens and fake money tokens and so on, which is extremely hard to do if you are just a small indie game with a budget of $1.5 million. With the blockchain, this makes this technology super accessible. So for us, it's just turbocharging our TCG. But for many other games with many other genres, it's going to be a change in the way they design their games and they manage the distribution of their games. I'm oftentimes saying that one thing I expect in the next 2 years in terms of gaming and blockchain will be that at some point the developers will stop mingling with the economy and just let the economy of the game behave without them. Like suddenly, like the game is distributing wood and iron. Well, instead of tweaking the supply, let there be a free market. Let's see how that free market for wood and iron inside the game is going to change the behaviors of the players and become the social experience that enhance the gaming experience of the player. It takes to develop an MMORPG simply based on the fact that the players are going to handle the economy and the world is built on that. So like we hope that the things won't be too shaky. But suddenly the experience of the players become a bit different. Like some player will be like, hey, it's a good time to go chopping some wood because lumber is getting pretty high in price right now. And some player will just be like, yeah, well, I'm better off just continue digging for diamonds. I don't know. Like I need to handle this quest, so I'm willing to buy you some tokens. Like we had the play to earn era in 2021, 2022. And now we're trying to figure out like how this uh, moment in time that's past now and that's super hard to reproduce, like how this explosion of activity and of interest can be reproduced in a healthy model, and that's really likely just putting blockchain everywhere and letting the economy be fully handled by the chain. And suddenly you'll see players that are interested into just acquiring resources and selling them. Like the more resource you dig, or the lower the price. So at some point they will look for something harder to dig, and some people will consume the content. Yeah, I believe it's there's different ways we can apply blockchain, but again, like we've been living into 3,000 years of various forms of capitalism and various ways of organizing enterprise around the centralization at first and things that you buy on the market. But now with the blockchain, we have the opportunity of giving them access, opening your model to a third way, and this third dimension is a bit hard to grasp. So there's no excuse on building, but we're still digging for where the blockchain is going to bring the most value actually.
Got it. No, it definitely feels like you guys have been through quite the journey yourselves, from where you started to getting here. And that game idea that you just mentioned is indeed quite nice. I'd play that game. Like we're now slowly getting to the end. We obviously need to end this, but I think we can keep talking about a lot of these things for a very long time. uh, uh, so let me try and just switch gears.
Oh no, I lost you. I lost you on the sound now. It's your turn to have the sound coming off.
Okay.
Okay, it's back.
my bad.
I lost you
Yeah.
like 10 seconds ago. 5 seconds ago.
Yeah, no, I just said, an area of grave interest for us, of course, as a company, but I think it's something that really solves a lot of things for users who are participating in crypto assets in one form or another, and are not necessarily doing everything only on centralized exchanges, is this idea of chain abstraction, which, according to us at Arcana, is quite simple. You spoke about how people want to build their own rollups and deploy their own chains because they don't want to share block space with other people, give greater user experiences, and this whole modular thesis that's like really bursting onto the scene today, especially in the Ethereum ecosystem, is is basically comes with a promise of like thousands and thousands of chains, app chains, rollups, L2s, L3s, whatever they may be. And you would imagine like all of these chains having different sorts of assets. You're already at, I don't know, 50, 60 layer twos. And you'd have like all of these assets on these different chains. Users want to use apps. Apps happen to be on certain chains. Consequently, users need to acquire assets to kind of use applications of those chains. This results in me having, my MetaMask has this one account address, but across every chain I have these bits of, essentially assets, and it's fragmenting. And this is what we are seeing, and
Yeah.
this is of course
Fragmentation.
a problem. Yeah, it's the problem born out of like the solution to Ethereum scalability, and so now we need to find this way to kind of put it all together. What, according to you, in your context, in your worldview and things like that, is chain abstraction, and what sort of impact do you think that it will have? If you could just spend a couple of minutes talking about that.
So first off, like yeah, it's we are in a time where block space is cheap. So again, no excuse.
Yeah.
Fill up these blocks. Yeah. When applications tend to create their own chain, it's when they are confident that they are going to cruise into adulthood, or they are going from teenager to adult. Because for me, in the early days of an app that is on the blockchain, they're like, hey, do I need composability? Do I need access to the Web3 niche? If not, like it's so cheap to run my own rollup that I should be on my own rollup just to sponsor all the transactions that are not revenue generating for me, and I need maybe to sponsor them. Okay, but don't get me wrong, there are some applications that are purely tools or utilities that are bringing synergies to other apps. So like definitely
Yep.
composability is key for them. Like they need to be everywhere. They need to be all over the world, all over the Web3 world. Now, from a user perspective, my MetaMask, as if I go see my hot wallets on Etherscan, they tell me like I have a positive balance on 13 chains. So what is my balance? Like one thing we're going to reach pretty soon, I think, and most of the wallets are or should be working on that, is to display a weighted balance. Like your balance on mainnet is 1 ETH, but your balance aggregated with all the layers that are EVM compatible, yeah, it's 1.5 ETH, give or take, weighted by the fees it takes to bring the assets from one chain to the next. Like the total spendable amount is 1.5, but on the chain it's just 1, right? So in the EOA, externally owned address world, like when you have a private key that's strongly binded to your public key, and you have to sign every transaction, sign everything, and move your asset everywhere, like you can barely automate stuff. it's pretty hard to do this one balance approach. Whether on the other end, whereas on the other end with account abstraction, when your account is a smart account, and we have in the Ethereum world some evolution of the protocol that are coming soon to let you switch from your EOA to a smart account, it gets easier to do. Like it's easier to do. Because you can declare some owners on various networks, some invokers on your different networks, some tools and third parties on various networks that can help you manage this chain abstraction problem. One thing Akana is doing, which is I think it's great, is helping out how we can prove that something happened from one chain to another. So when you get this kind of thing, it becomes possible to say, "Hey, I have to move my USDC from Optimism to Arbitrum. If I want to move 1,000, who's giving me 9,900, 999? Who's giving me who's doing this service for me for $1, for $10, for $5, for 1%, 2%, 3%?" And one good way of doing that in a decentralized manner, secure way, and yada yada, easy to have a good competition on top of it, and to make it seamless from the blockchain perspective, is because of the smart account, we can do resource lock modules, or we can do intent-based transaction. Both of them are quite similar. Things like an intent, such as if you send me 999 on this chain, I'm going to send you 1,000 on this other chain. And we can find cryptographic commitments that guarantee that for the people bringing the 999. And thus, your balance becomes interoperable between chains. It's very likely for me that the new waves of users are going to be onboarded on their own rollup of an application, on the very rollup of an applications, and then directionally they will be like, oh, but this address, can I use it on Binance Chain? Can I use it on Arbitrum? Can I use it here? Can I use it there? What about Base? Can I use it there? They will want to have this address active everywhere. And we may be fooling ourselves thinking that MPCs and other EOAs approach are going to facilitate that, compared to making sure that everything is abstracted from the get-go. Just because if you are on Polygon POS, you have to have Matic to do transactions. If you are on Binance Smart Chain, you have to get another thing, and so on and so forth. So all those chains are having their own native tokens for security purposes, for the consensus purposes, but this cannot matter for the user. This cannot be the problem of the user. So I'm glad the chain abstraction world and the account abstraction world are working together towards this hard problem, which is it's not hard. It's hard to light a fire if you just have firestones, but it's easy if you have a Zippo, right? So it's much better. Like get a good lighter and a lot of gas, and then make you a Zippo, and you can go travel outside and camp.
Yeah, fantastic. Love the analogy. I think you're absolutely right. I think one of the biggest issues, though, I think everything you said is perfect. I think we just need, I think the whole chain abstraction ecosystem just needs more clarity on what is account abstraction on Ethereum going to look like. Because we've had 4337, we've had 43074, we now have had 7702, but we don't know what it's going to become, whether it's going to be that way. And I think once that clarity comes, it becomes very easy for people to kind of start doing things instead of having made like certain commitments to certain like ways of doing account abstraction, and then tomorrow that way is like has been abandoned by the community at large, and now there is this new way. And that, I think, as soon as that sort of clarity comes, I think we'll see like this real burst of like innovation when it comes to account abstraction, chain abstraction, kind of really working together. because my take is that whatever we are looking at right now, as you talked about resource lock modules and all of these sorts of things, that there are ways of doing this. One way is very clearly in the account abstraction sort of setup, but I think we're going to see newer and better ways possible once we have that sort of clarity on what's going to be is it going to be enshrined, is it going to be like provider based, how is it going to work? So
Yeah, it's when you look at it hands down, you're like, well, what is going on? Like, is it a multiple different standards fighting for a potential market share, which is completely unclear, or is it different? Is it the foundation deciding for everything? So uh, it's hard to tell exactly how governance and implementations and getting into native protocol support works. There's a lot of moving pieces and things going on at the same time. So there's no one size fits all approach on that. I feel like though the Ethereum, since it's moved from sharding to the rollup scalability approach, at the same time, the foundation took an approach that is, let the innovation happen at the rollups level, and if this innovation is worthwhile, we'll put it in the main chain. So that's that's a bit of a complicated way to say, like, it's like when an investor tells you, like, hey, if you're profitable, I will invest in you. Yeah, but like I need money to be profitable, so give me some money. No, to be profitable before, like, prove that you are useful on your rollup in order for me to say, like, we're going to put you in the mainnet. And I expect that once we will have those kind of super good success, let's say, on optimism, the Starkware guys or the Polygon guys will be like, yeah, but it's a Starkware approach and it's a Polygon approach. Like, we should not put that in the mainnet. And so I don't know. Like, well, maybe time will prove me wrong, but people may be biased, saying like, yeah, this has a success on this chain because the foundation or whatever is heavily supported it and so on. But nevertheless, like, we've been discussing account abstraction since EIPs with only 2 digits, so it's been a while. And now 4337 is like, yeah, so let's agree that we have a way of emulating how it should work at the protocol level, all with smart contract, super expensive, but yeah, it's there, it's usable. So let's see if in a super cheap context, this has legs or not. So I really don't believe that alternative ways of doing account abstraction are going to take off, at least until we give its chance to 4237. And once we have it, we can decide as a community, as a core dev community, as a user community, to push hard for that to be fully supported at the native the native level. I'm a big proponent of WebAuthn passkeys way of signing stuff. That's not the typical K1 curve, but the R1 curve. So not really the same time of elliptic curve design, but not using the same parameters. We don't have any native support of this curve inside Ethereum. There is an EIP going on to put that in place, but it's not there yet. That's the kind of thing that suddenly you see that it's useful on the rollup, and you say, like, yeah, well, let's put it on the mainnet. Maybe that's the good time to do it. So I would expect likewise 4337 to start taking off, and people to be like, yeah, well, we need to put that in the mainnet now. Hopefully it won't take too much time. Maybe next year, maybe the year after, but that's the way to go. And at the same time, we are pushing out for people to be able to migrate from EOAs to smart accounts, because we also realize that smart accounts are much better. And Solana accounts knew that when they created Solana, they said, like, yeah, well, accounts should be hosting code as well.
Yeah.
So the evolution of Ethereum is also to let people host code on their accounts. I have kids. I'd love them to be able to inherit my account. So like, can I just put some code to deal with the inheritance? Yeah, probably. Like that's the kind of good approach that I want, even as a Web3 native user. So once we will have standardized better the icon abstraction, we will definitely start to look heavily at how we handle chain IDs into the intents / message icon abstraction mempool. Like that's definitely going this way, I
Yeah.
think.
Got it. I mean, this is such an insightful conversation. I love how you can speak about all of these different topics so eloquently. It's very clear that
You're too kind. Thank you.
you have your fingers in so many pies. It's fantastic. I could keep going on, but we're
Oh yeah.
basically
Oh
over
shit.
time also.
Look at the clock,
But
dude.
yeah, time flies when conversations are high quality. Fantastic. No, thank you so much. But
Likewise.
before I
Thank you
go,
so much for having me.
I just want to do a quick rapid fire. We do this with all our guests. There's 5 questions, simple questions, not very serious. 1 word, 2 word answers.
Okay.
You will get one skip amongst these 5 questions. Any of them you can choose to skip. You can't skip another. So we'll quickly do this before we let you go. So Jerome, you ready? You go.
I'm ready.
Okay, fantastic. Uh, 2 years from now, ETH or SOL?
If is that even a question?
Fantastic. No, I like it. Though apparently, it is a question, but yeah, fine. A year from now, BTC price.
I think 100K is definitely a target from a year from now. If we can get the orange guy to win, then the orange coin will win as well. If not, like any people in the space are going to in the meat world are going to push the Bitcoin price as well. Yep.
Okay, so let me ask you that: Trump or Harris?
I'm not an American voter, so I cannot vote on this election.
Just
I
your opinion, not who you want, but who you think will.
I think Trump will win. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
Okay.
I think so. I
Uh,
don't know. Yeah,
Great. A year from now, EOA versus smart accounts.
smart accounts, like definitely. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
There's no going back. Like we are talking 10 clicks versus 1 click in terms of installation. So good luck beating that.
Fantastic. ECC, Paris, Brussels, now Cannes. Why?
So we are discussing with the local authority in Cannes to see how we can do it well, and it's likely going to be in Cannes as we announced. It's going to be fully confirmed soon, but it's aiming to Cannes now. Yeah.
Hmm. Why? Can you speak to that, or
About what?
can you speak to why, as to why are
Why
we
Cannes?
moving?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Um, So, first, Paris has been very hard to work with in terms of event organization, and very expensive on various levels. Yeah, when you hear Cannes and you're a foreigner, you're like, oh, it must be super expensive compared to Paris. Actually, it's not that much, and from an event organization, it's also not that much. We fear that post Olympics we'll have a lot of restriction, and a lot of the things that were put in place during the Olympics are
Mhm.
going to stay. Um, so that's also kind of a struggle for us. And also in terms of event size, we are slowly getting into the 10K attendees. And there's
Mhm.
unfortunately no good places inside Paris to host such an event. There are definitely good places when you are above 20Ks, but we are not there yet.
Mhm.
So for us, it's a matter of being pragmatic and saying like, well, If you are between 7 to 12K, we better off not be in Paris because everything will be overpriced or too complicated. Maybe once we get a little bit bigger, we'll go to Paris. Or if we decide to size down the conference, we should go back to Paris as well. Like if we do it a 6K or 5K conference, we can also do it in Paris. But that's a different approach. Like we are still polishing the rough angles about next year, and we will make a definitive announcement. But we already said it in the closing speech. Like yeah, it's going to be in Cannes. Like prepare your tuxedo and bow ties because like, we're going red carpets, green
Fantastic.
candle.
No, great. Wow. What a way to end this conversation. I've had an absolute blast. Thank you so much, Jerome. I know we're
Likewise.
well over time, but would be great to get you back on another episode later on. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Fantastic. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Let's do another one when we have something cool to announce between Arcana and Cometh. Cheers, mates.